Hi, this is Anna Crowe with the Get Real podcast, where CEOs, CMOs, and communications experts share their real advice. It's 5 questions under 9 minutes because we get to it real fast. So let's get to it. I'm thrilled to have today's guest on. In a few sentences, could you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thrilled to be on. My first name is Nique. Most importantly, I'm a father of 3 better than me. My professional career has been a mix of large corporate and business startups. For the last 5 years, I've worked for a company called Premium Retail Services, and I have supported and co-led a series of retail operation units for Google.
Fantastic. And I love that you started with your children. This podcast is all about authentic connections and getting real with some leadership advice. So I'd love to start off asking you about those connections. I hear from other executives that creating authentic connections can be challenging when there's a lot of noise. And that could be with your customers or your teams, family, etc. What's your take on that?
Well, at the end of the day, we've been given responsibility. We've been given leadership. In many instances, we've been compensated well. Now, in fact, is the time to pay off and deliver some return on investment in the belief and support that people have for you. I mean, there's really no option. Life is hard and then you die. But as a leader, you've got to make the lives of your people better. And no better time to show that leadership ability than during a crisis.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you have any other real advice for other leaders? Is there anything else that you think is really important?
Absolutely. I think it's important as a business executive, as a leader, to think about your job on a day-to-day basis and think about how you approach your job and ask the question, am I modeling the kind of work experience that I want my children to have? If you want your kids to be entrepreneurs, you pick the CEO, pick the founder, you've got to model those behaviors, and for some folks, a job is a miserable part of their life where they simply go to work to pay the bills, and that's CEOs on down. So you got to think about what are you modeling for your children if you have that kind of a job. To keep it simple, it's be brave, be honest, and recognize that hard work doesn't take any talent. And you have the ability to decide how hard you want to work.
What's that expression? Hard work beats talent on any given day, right? But absolutely, and you're right. As a leader, the position of leadership is so visible, and you really have to model that behavior. Especially if you expect to get certain results, right? It's being and doing and being and all those things. So I love that advice and really appreciate you sharing it. Before we get to our question about your background, are there any other successful executives such as yourself that you would like to acknowledge or give a shout out to on this podcast?
Sure. That's a great question, by the way. Yeah, I have an old buddy from our Procter & Gamble days. His name's Dwayne Clement. He's the CEO and founder of a company called Inventions. And he's doing incredible work in the software as a service space specific to manufacturing.
Wonderful. Sounds like a great man. Well, our last question is more of a fun one. You've had a really enriching career, I'm sure, and you've got some really wonderful experience. But can you tell us about your first job?
Absolutely. I was a bagger and a grocery cart chaser at Stop and Shop, which was a Northeast regional grocer, and I remember it well. I think I enjoyed chasing the carts more than bagging the groceries, but still learned a lot of fundamental basics from that job.
Yeah, did you get to ride the carts too?
Not so much, because that was frowned upon, but I did enjoy seeing how many I could stack into the longest possible train and not cause an accident in the parking lot.
Nice, very cool. And what part of town was that in?
That was in Arlington, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston, where I was raised most of my youth.
Very cool. Well, I really appreciate you joining us. And how can people get a hold of you or learn more about what you're doing?
Well, they can certainly find me on LinkedIn. I don't think there are too many Niques on LinkedIn. Nique. My last name begins with F. Fajors. I have a podcast that I do with a business school colleague called the Invisible Men, which we do on a weekly basis. It's produced by the American Enterprise Institute, and I'd love for some of your viewers to check it out on occasion.
Fantastic. We'll be sure to tag that then. Well, really appreciate you, like I said, and thanks everyone for tuning in. This is Anna Crowe. For more insights, visit us at crowepr.com. Thanks so much and make it a great day.